If you're hearing this episode around the time it comes out, it means I've gone into labor and quite possibly have already had the baby that's been using me as a human punching bag for the last few months. I've recorded these ahead of time and most likely will not be available on social media for the next few weeks. But you'll still get the story behind twice a week if you're subscribed to the podcast. Consider this series to be like a substitute teacher. We won't go as in-depth as in previous episodes. As much as certain teachers have made learning about history fun, and really it was only two from high school, Mr. Cehovsky and Mr. Patrick, it was a particular singer-songwriter's lyrics that made me become more interested in learning the history behind a number of different topics to have a working knowledge of them. And that singer-songwriter was Billy Joel. I'm your host, Emily Prokop, and this is the introduction to the series, The Story Behind We Didn't Start the Fire. In the episodes following this one, we'll pick apart We Didn't Start the Fire and find out the stories behind each of the events and people Billy Joel refers to in his lyrics. But for this episode, we're going to look at the song itself and the story behind it. Let's start with Billy Joel, who was born in 1949, the year the first few events mentioned in We Didn't Start the Fire took place. He was brought up in Oyster Bay, New York. His father was classically trained in piano, and his mother was a singer. Coming from a musical family, it was no wonder that Billy Joel's career had spanned decades, with no one song sounding the same as another. But when you hear that clear voice and right-hand heavy piano, it's unmistakably Billy Joel. He was trained to play piano from a young age through his teenage years, but he has since said recently on the podcast Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin, that because he doesn't practice reading music, he can't anymore. Not that it stopped his songwriting, or being the first non-classical musician inducted into the Steinway Hall. He is the piano man after all. Adding to his acclaim, he has been nominated for 23 Grammy Awards, winning 6, and inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1992, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1999. He has had 33 top 40 hits, including 3 that made it to number 1. We Didn't Start the Fire was his latest one in 1989. Joel had turned 40 and was in the studio writing songs for his next album. He was joined by Sean Lennon, the son of John Lennon, and Sean's friend. The friend had just turned 21 and told Joel, "It's a terrible time to be 21," telling him it was easier back in the 50s and 60s. This gave Joel the idea for the song, which listed the major headlines between the year of his birth and 1989, when he wrote and recorded the song. He has said that he was asked to write additional verses chronicling the years following the Cold War, but Joel hasn't, being quoted in a Q&A at the University of Oxford saying, "I wrote one song already, and I don't think it was really that good to begin with, melodically." Following this quote, Joel began playing the melody to show how simple it really was. And he wasn't the only one who thought that. The song was ranked 41 on Blender magazine's list for the 50 worst songs, with the criticism that it sounded like a term paper scribbled the night before it was due. But from the standpoint of popularity, it has become a classic, forever immortalized as pop culture, even through today, and parodied throughout the years, including on The Office, Parks and Recreation, and Family Guy.
Well, it's getting dark. We should probably start a fire.
Man, how do we do that? Hey, do you think there's directions about starting fires in the song We Didn't Start the Fire?
I don't think so.
I better go through it all. Big disaster, someone's name, stuff, history, someone's name, something I don't know. Famous guy, movie star, don't know who these people are, stuff, history, yelling really loud at me. Okay, how's your fire coming?
The music video for the song featured a newlywed couple in a kitchen, and then follows that couple and their subsequent children throughout the decades of the song, throwing in more cultural references to the changing decades, like the couple's daughter burning her bra, and their son burning his draft card, and even showing the changes of the kitchen from being a typical 1950s style to a more modern-day 80s kitchen that's slowly being consumed in flames, with the occupants not even realizing it. Throughout the video, Joel is seen by the audience only, narrating from the kitchen scene at first, and then behind a table in front of burning pictures of historical events, until he finally flips over his table as he sings, "I Can't Take It Anymore." The song, as you can guess, has become a significant part of history, not just because of the cultural impact the song had when it was released, but also the chronicling of events, which is why high school history classes have included the song among teaching materials. If you look at lesson plan ideas online, you'll find a few group project ideas involving using the songs to have students look up the significance of the lyrics, which is very similar to how the rest of this series will be structured. We'll go through the song in order, starting with the lyrics in the years 1949 through 1950 in the next episode. And as I said, it won't be as in-depth as previous episodes in which we explore just one topic at a time. But I'm really excited for this series and hope you enjoy it while I'm on baby break. Information from this series was sourced from BillyJoel.com, SchoolForChampions.com, Billboard.com, History.com, Biography.com, Encyclopedia.com, and many more. I may not be online for the next few weeks as much, but for updates about the podcast, as well as to stay informed about new episodes, follow Story Behind Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app to catch all the episodes in this series and when I come back from baby break. Thanks for listening.